Mayor of Memphis, I'd like to call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Here.
Parker. Stoops.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Sukasar. Here. Lucas W.
Here.
Actually, had a call from,
I wasn't here.
He's told me until, he's working nights right now, or evenings, afternoon evenings. He's told me on the 8th, he goes on full-time. We're talking about Mr. Parker. And he will know then if he can make meetings or not. He's gonna work with his union rep to be able to come to all these meetings as, actually as part of his job. I don't know how he's gonna handle it, but he's gonna have the union make it to where he can make it to our meetings. He did tell me he wasn't gonna be coming to this meeting until after the 8th. He's gonna figure it out. If he's not able to make the meetings after that, we may have to find some alternate member to come be in his place, but he'll know.
all right, then, with that in mind, I'll make a motion that we excuse Parker for tonight.
Okay, Parker absent. Stoops.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Sukasar.
Yes.
Lucas W.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
All right, non-agenda items and sidelines, I had none. Comments from city administration, Donna.
We send taxes out Monday, and we still need cookie donations for Friday.
So I don't have to say that we need cookie
I don't
donations.
have to.
Okay,
I
I'll
didn't
take
know
that
if
off.
you remember.
Well, it's written right here. It was written.
That
So,
was written last week.
oh, okay. We do need cookie donations for the Santa visit to town and the lighting of the tree. So if anybody knows how to make cookies, Larry.
I make a lot of muffins.
I don't know, we don't give out muffins.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
I make cookies too.
Oh, okay. Chief, do
You
you know how to make cookies?
a little bit, but the experts don't go there.
Okay,
Hey, what time's tree lighting Friday?
7 o'clock.
And real new, we have one reserve. We just hired in two part-time officers. One's capacity of a training officer, which I was going to save a lot of money for our firearms instruction and miscellaneous training. He's an instructor at Macomb's Police Academy itself.
Oh, wow.
So he just wants to stay more certified as an officer, work day for any holes here and there.
Are there any opportunities we could set up classes that would actually bring some money into the department?
Oh, we're working on that. That is a possibility. Looking into that. There are paid classes through Macomb's Academy and their training center, but you can also train not capacity of instructor for the academy.
Okay,
So that's possible.
all right, anything else?
Still looking for additional salvage investigators, inspectors. We are going through some backgrounds right now on a couple potentials, but nothing's set yet. I'd like to have at least 2 more in the next several months to help supplement.
Okay, anything else?
That is it.
Anybody have any questions for him?
Yeah, just one, you said hire reserve, they're not on the payroll or anything.
No,
Okay,
in a volunteer capacity.
Okay, all right.
All right.
I was thinking of money, so, okay.
You always are. All right, you got anything, Chief?
The fire department's doing this toy drive again this year,
All
on
right.
the truck, so we'll be accepting donations of toys again this year to hand out to families in the area.
I believe yesterday I saw Scott's wife arrive here with a bunch
Yeah,
of
we've
toys.
received some already, so you'll see drop boxes throughout town, flyers throughout town.
Fantastic.
And I received a letter today from the Michigan DNR. We had wrote a grant here back in the springtime, and we were able to receive that grant. So the amount of $3,200. So I'll have more information as we you get it, but
All right, fantastic.
that's all I got.
Ms. Pearl?
Just to remind everybody of the trip in January 22nd to Frankenmuth. I'm working on summer programs, music in the park, and the father-daughter dance is set for February 21st. And that's all I have tonight.
All right, fantastic. Adoption or amendment of the agenda?
I have one amendment under communications, number 1, Detroit Institute of Arts. So for the changes, I make a motion to adopt the agenda as with the amendment.
Any-
Support. Stoops?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Sukasara?
Yes.
Lucas W?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Parker absent.
All right, hopefully you've all had a chance to go over the regular meeting minutes of November 18th, 2014. If there's no changes, I'd entertain a motion to accept those.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Support.
Weaver?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Sukasara?
Yes.
Lucas W?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Parker absent. Stoops?
Yes.
All right, presentation and approval of November's disbursements report for $165,667.41 and electronic wire transfers of $13,236.16. Can I get a motion to accept the disbursements and wire transfers and pay the bills?
Make that motion.
Support.
Wilson?
Yes.
Sukasara?
Yes.
Lucas W?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Parker absent. Stoops?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes. Can I get a motion to accept communications?
Make that motion.
Support.
Sukasara?
Yes.
Lucas W?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Parker absent. Stoops?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
All right. Communication is from Jillian Reese with the DIA to Judy Weaver. Judy actually went out of her way to apply for this Inside Out program. This is a program that other communities have had. I think Armada, did Armada have it one year?
I think they did.
Armada, Romeo, Royal Oak, we're in pretty good company with this. We were awarded this 2015 season,
Spring.
spring, what is it?
April to
through
July.
July. They will be bringing, the Inside Out project places 7 to 15 framed images in our community, often clustering within bicycling or walking distance to enable residents to find art in unexpected places. A random act of culture that elicits surprise and wonder. Awesome, very cool, wow, brilliant, love it so much are typical comments from residents upon seeing the art. Inside Out is funded through a generous grant from the Knight Foundation. We ask that you credit the Knight Foundation in any public correspondence about Inside Out in your community, like press releases or marketing materials. Their logo was attached to the email.
I'll send it.
Okay. Because we can put it on the city website.
Okay.
And on all the different Facebook pages that have people in and around here. I think the Memories page that Ruth runs is pretty active with, I think, 2,000 members or something like that.
Okay.
And this is a fantastic thing that the city has been awarded, and pretty exciting. If you'd like to speak about it.
I just have a few things to tell you where we're at. Actually, the library did the application and went through. And I wasn't sure at the time that it was actually a community thing. It went outside all over. So the girl, Jillian, is coming out Friday, and she asked us to pick out 15 spots, which I did. And Eric Schneider is going to walk around with me if anybody else wants to. She's coming at 2 o'clock. We're going to meet at the library. I have a few sites, and maybe somebody else has the different places that they want them. The people that I talked to at the DIA that had already done it, Oak Park and a couple other communities, said they wish that they would have clustered the paintings closer together so that they're not all over the place. Because at first I was thinking maybe a couple down Boardman at the American Legion and the Free Methodist Church. But they like to have them, and it's up to us. It's really up to us. We can have them all through town, we could have them all over the place, so,
Well, I can tell you who I've talked to. I've
Okay.
talked to the Donut Girls. They're more than willing to have something on their wall on the side of the building, as well as the winery on the other end of downtown. I'd like this to kind of help out our businesses in the
oh,
process.
absolutely,
I talked to Nina Powers, the ice cream shop.
okay,
They said anywhere on their property is fine with them.
okay.
You know, we have City Hall building, the library, the
Definitely
community
City
center.
Hall.
And I mean, I don't know if they set them on a building or if they have them
They
on
set them
posts.
on posts and
Okay.
on the building,
Because,
So
I
they
mean,
could go any place, they basically, they could go on post by the
Yes.
library, so on.
right.
I'm sure that moms wouldn't mind having something on the side of their building, and I know Ron Bomarito, if I asked him to, would say fine as well.
Okay.
So if
Or
we,
even G5 or parking lot.
Oh,
by the
yeah,
post
G5,
office,
yeah.
that nice sweet,
yeah, exactly, and if we keep it centered around downtown, I mean, I would love to put it down in our new trail and have people down, but that is removed from a lot of the businesses in the downtown. And if we had it throughout our main street and then at the public buildings around our downtown, I think we'd be,
That's kind of what I'm shooting for, and I think that.
and we could place them, I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't mind having one in your front yard where people were walking down the sidewalk and could see it.
Judy, what's the time, when is this gonna be? What
Yeah.
period, I guess?
From April to July,
April to July,
Right.
okay.
and we,
They leave them up for 3 months,
yeah,
the art outside?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and it's all their responsibility. We will need, they can go on private property, they don't like to have them on school property.
Okay,
So,
well, the school's removed from downtown as well. I probably
Right,
wouldn't
so I
want to go
kind of,
there.
yeah, I'm gonna take her by that way, but we'll just concentrate on Main Street.
Yeah, I would like it, I would
Okay.
like to see it along Main Street and
Does
then
everyone agree on that?
to the
Yeah,
library and
especially
to
because in
City
the
Hall.
summertime, it would be, well, just because most people, you know, in town walk from one end down to the Dairy Queen and back.
Right, but school will still be open, so there'll be a lot of traffic, you know,
Yeah.
down Boardman too, but it doesn't matter to me, that's why I'm here, I want to, you know, see what everyone wants to do.
Yeah, I'd like to
And
make it where
also-
people would walk maybe from the businesses on the south end down to the downtown and maybe
Mhm.
see, like I said, maybe one in your yard. I'm sure Richard Kerner wouldn't mind after we did the project there,
Right.
putting one in his
I
yard.
think the park here, if you're gonna.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, definitely the
park.
park here.
Maybe
The
a
park,
couple in the park
definitely,
would be great.
and the library, so there'll be a
Right.
cluster here, there'll be City Hall, the library, the park,
Yeah.
and then we can, you know, have a couple on the,
Oh,
we're probably only gonna get 7 or 8, there's 10 communities this year, they have 90 paintings. So if each of us gets 9, we'd be
Right.
lucky, so,
Well, also, even Foster's, I told them if they had their building up by then, they would be more than happy to have one on the north side of the building facing the
Mhm.
downtown. So, I mean, yeah, we've got plenty of places to choose from.
okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing, they have one more meeting at the DIA in February, and that's the whole nuts and bolts of everything. So if somebody wanted to come with me to that meeting from the city, otherwise I think Eric might.
I'm
or
sure
if
Eric
someone
will,
else
I
wanted
asked
to,
him, he's in the process of helping us redo our Parks and Rec plan, and I'd asked him to talk to Judy and kind of work with her on picking places and everything else,
Don't you know that area very well?
so.
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
thank you, Judy.
Now, we don't have
All your
to,
work.
do we have to
So-
vote on anything to accept this, or, I mean,
I don't think so, it's.
I'm excited about this, I really
Before
appreciate what you
I,
guys have done to get this into the community.
Thanks. Before I actually went ahead with the okay, I made sure I asked you if it was okay because it's
Right.
all around town. And we will need some kind of a release or an okay to go on, you know,
I'm
the
sure
properties.
they have a standard release they'll
They
probably
do, they
forward to
have,
us.
yeah, they do everything.
Whatever
It's
you
an
need, I
outreach
can
for
get it
them.
signed by the individual property owners
Mhm.
that we
And if
decide.
anything is damaged or anything, they take care of everything. One year, and they haven't had any vandalism at all. They've got the paintings on the Detroit River Walk. I know, so I'm really hoping that we have that everything, you know, goes well here. But if they blow over or anything, the DIA comes out, they take care of everything. So they put them up, they take them down. All we have to do is just enjoy and tell them where to put them. And we don't get to pick either.
I had
I
told Judy as well that I had heard some of the communities had put together a presentation or where when they came and put them up, they would actually, DIA will send representatives up here and do a presentation for your community on the paintings, the history of them, what they are, and that type of thing, and throw a little reception, maybe, I don't know that it was a dinner, I think it was more of a little cocktail type thing. And that would be very nice to do as a thank you to.
Community center?
Yeah.
There's, anybody can jump in and do a program too. The library plans to do a garden tea, so I'm hoping to get one in the garden. There's, somebody can organize a bike route, a bike tour, a business can do that. We're gonna have a couple of scavenger hunts from the library and a kids program, so we've got quite a few programs planned around it. And also, the volunteers do come out for free, so we'll probably do 2 or 3 tours,
Oh,
one
that'd
every
be
couple
great.
weeks, just to get it out there.
That's fantastic.
That's
Anybody
all.
else have any questions?
Nope, I just said thank you.
All right,
be
thank
fun.
you very much. Yeah, we look forward to it. Moving on, unfinished business, there was none. New business, fire department, proposal to install carpet in your offices.
Yeah, we'd like to install carpet into the offices. I don't know if some of you were around when we had the debacle with the flooring company here a few years back. So since then, those floors really haven't been upgraded or done anything with. So we'd like to use some of our building expense money this year and carpet
How
those
much do you
two
think,
rooms.
what's your estimate on the cost?
The one you have to take the taxes off, and you have tax. So it'd be
Yeah.
561.47.
That one is the one we'd like to go with, Ashley Creek, 561.47.
And I think in the building, I checked it, you got about $600 or so in there.
Oh.
Expense on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was
yeah.
1,500,
Yep.
but I think there's a little over 600 in there,
Right.
so we'll cover it.
All right.
These are square carpet tiles like we have in our meeting room, so if anything happens, we don't have to replace the whole carpet, it just pop up that square and it.
And how big are those rooms?
I would say maybe 10 by 10, both of them are.
27 yards is a lot of carpet. 27 square yards.
27 tile, 27. It should
He
be-
says
it should
yards,
be-
but I don't
It should be
think-
tiles,
I don't
27
think it's
tiles.
yards.
Yeah,
27 yards.
It's
When I-
27, yeah.
Big old
it gives
Huge
me a-
amount of carpet. You're too little.
No,
Right.
27
Yeah.
tiles, I believe.
I don't
is
know,
what's-
I don't think one of those square costs $12, does it?
I would imagine they're 1 foot by 1 foot, tiles, maybe even.
That seems awfully
But they're only
expensive.
one,
Thought they were
there's
two.
3 square,
Metal
there's,
squares?
Yeah, that-
27 would be enough to do it 10 by 10,
To 2 rooms.
10 by 10.
Yeah, there's two 10 by 10 rooms. But I'm just thinking, they might ought to crunch these numbers, because I'm thinking that it shouldn't be that much.
You're saying that.
I'm saying that they may have it at 27 yards, a box. A box is usually about $30 and it has 12 tiles in it. Something like that. I mean, usually it's only $3 a square foot. I mean, you can get it tiled for this one. And you can get hardwood put in.
That I'm not aware of.
But I
I'm
mean,
not sure
we
how
can
far
approve this as a maximum, but I haven't checked into this. I think
I
this is a
can,
little
I
high.
definitely will.
Well, the both bids came
You've
in
got me
relatively
questioning.
close.
Right.
But I think, I agree with, as soon as I saw 27 yards, I didn't figure the
Yeah, I
yards
don't,
anyway.
that,
because that's,
right.
The square yard is not been so.
Okay.
So
Well, I
anyway,
will definitely look into it though.
All right, but yeah, let's go ahead and vote on, or did I get a motion to approve the 561.47 to Ashley Creek Floors in Richmond?
I'll do that.
Can I get support for that?
Support.
Who supported? Lucas W.,
Yes.
Davis,
yes.
Parker, absent, Stoops,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Lucas R.
Yes.
Thank you, Ken. I will look into it and give you guys an update as well as to that.
All right, other new business from the mayor, we have tree lighting coming this weekend. Pretty exciting, one of my favorite things, hopefully all of you can come. We need cookies for that tree lighting.
Friday, 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, Santa Claus comes after the, have you heard from the band? You had
That's
the other
why
day.
I texted you.
Yeah,
And
okay.
neither has Dave.
Well, I called the superintendent and asked her to call me back, check with him, call me back. But last year when I showed up and he was setting up, I'm like, we never heard back from you. He says, well, I'll always be here. So I'm not really that concerned
I
about
told
it.
Dave he'll just have to sing.
Yeah, if nobody comes, we'll have Dave sing a cappella. And it'll all be handled.
You gonna have enough cookies?
No, we need cookies.
Okay, you want me to make some cookies?
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm
And brownies.
Chocolate chip. Yeah, I brought up an idea. We have, the city owns the alley back here, or part of an alley, a really weird layout on the alley back behind the businesses on the east side of town. I think we should abandon that, and I asked our assessor to look into it, what we have, what we don't have, and, do you have that information with you?
I don't have on abandonment, but it's because of, I think, a different vehicle as opposed to abandonment.
Because it's a deeded,
Well, yeah, we don't necessarily have to abandon it. I don't know that it's recognized as an alley or as a street.
there's no way it could be. Well, what's the problem is that we have 15 feet behind the Donut Girls that goes right on the back edge of the old Johnny's Market, 15 foot out from the back of the building. And then when it gets over to the drugstore, it drops down to 7.5 feet. So it's 7.5 feet that runs right behind the bar that's about to open. And the last thing, when I first became mayor 5 years ago, they handed me, oh, you're mayor now, we're being sued. I'm like, oh, great, fantastic. And I said, who is suing us? Apparently a lady had fallen, or coming around the the old Donut Girls, coming around the edge there because ice gathered up there and she had fallen and hurt herself, broke her glasses and messed up her face a little bit. Looking into it, I called the guy back and said, we don't own that property. I don't know who you're suing. It's not our property. You might as well sue somebody else. And that all kind of disappeared. I think we paid for her glasses. For her, and she was happy.
Yeah, $5,000.
$5,000? No, it wasn't that much.
No.
The one that fell?
No, oh, she might have paid that, we didn't pay it.
Yeah, she had bills,
Yeah.
but we didn't end up. The city didn't end up paying it. We just paid for her glasses. But the thing is, especially in the wintertime, if we own 7 foot of land that isn't usable to the city and gives us the liability of people walking out of a bar, I think it's a dumb thing to keep it.
Well, on that bar, I thought the property went 3 feet from the sign, yeah? That was the bar's property.
On the
Does
other
it go to that
side?
bar? Yeah.
Somebody owns, I don't have the ownership of that.
That's
other-
what I heard.
To speak to the issue that you just said,
I
it's
think
not
they
any
do.
different than having them walk out onto the sidewalk out the front door as opposed to coming out the back door.
Except
Stepping onto
we have rules that require maintaining the sidewalk. We don't have any rules in place that require the maintaining of that alley, so we can give ourselves liability in that area.
Well, and I agree, I think to go a step further, there needs to be a comprehensive plan. Now, you've been discussing parking options over this past year, and I applaud you on that, but I think this issue with this one piece of property should be looked at holistically with the balance of what you'd like to do with that. I think it does need to be addressed. It would be prudent to do that at the same time.
Okay. Well, I think it needs to be really looked into. That bar should open sometime early next year, probably while there's snow on the ground, probably while there's ice in that alley. One way or the other, we need to decide if we're going to take control of all the land back there and go for grants, try to get some parking paved, do something. And if we're not, and maybe hand it over to a consortium of the business owners, and they could do something. It has to be figured out. I don't like having the liability of that 7.5 feet right behind the bar. I really don't. Even though we maintain what is the alley, it's not really an alley. It's just some land we own.
Well, that's okay. If we don't own it, then we don't have to maintain it either.
No, we do maintain it and we don't own it now.
I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, that's Bart plows the snow out of this alley back here and we own, Smitty owns most of it. But, you know, talking to Smitty, he is more than willing to give his property to the city if we're going to make it real parking. I've talked to him several times about this. He says, whatever I need to do to make that parking back there and make it nice, I'm willing to do. So, I mean, but we ought to, you know, somebody needs to push it forward in case there's nobody here to do it, you know. Somebody needs to take this under their wing and kind of help this move forward.
I think what-
And
I think what we
if you're
need-
not, we need to get rid of that land, post haste.
I think what we need from you, we need the configuration, what we own and don't own. I don't think none of us really know.
Well,
Well, we had it,
We-
I had
we
a colored,
mapped that
I had a colored,
Yeah, we did have
thing
one.
We
done
did have
up on it by the county,
Patchwork.
Okay.
showing the 15
So
foot
it-
that drops down to
so
7
it's-
and
So it should be straightened out somehow.
it should be.
Yeah.
Either we need to, and the bar, whoever said that was right, the bar owns the bar parcel, and then another parcel that runs along the building, the old Masonic Hall, out to the road. So it's a real mess.
Yeah.
The whole, who owns what, and Smitty owns land that shoots way out, and look, we may even have part of it paved as city parking, and,
So it's really not an alley at all.
no, it's not an alley at all.
The ideal situation is that the property be put into one organization or one group, whether it be the city or the individuals. And at that time, the property be encumbered for ingress and egress to provide for the public purpose. It also would identify and describe any easements that need to be necessary for public utilities that would allow the city to get in and access the public utilities.
If we're gonna do that, then drainage becomes a question.
Drainage becomes a question, and then the paving plan overall. I think it's very necessary to invest in your city to ensure the viability of these businesses, and I do agree with the mayor that a paving plan back here be adopted. But that's something that you'll have to address in terms of your budgets and your timeline and when you want to do that.
And if we do it over several years, we can get money from the USDA. You know, that's something that they've been giving Emily City and Almont money for parking lots, about $50,000 to $60,000 a year over the last 5 years. So, I mean, if we did it in phases, we could get money for the parking. Because we don't have the money, and the little bit of taxes, I mean, that we were able to increase with this millage.
it just doesn't seem like it's big enough to
It's
make into a
not.
parking lot.
Oh,
Even if-
here?
Yeah.
Actually, I had a beautiful laid out plan that had one way this way and then one way that way, and it effectively tripled the parking back there. The problem is when you don't have organized parking, people park haphazardly. And, you know, they park wherever they want, and you don't have them in spaces. They would take up what could be 2 spaces, or, you know, I don't know. It needs to be improved. And we need to look further into this, what we do own and what is owned by other people. And like I said, Smitty's willing to work with us. He would sit down with us. Any of the business owners are encouraged by the thought that we might help them have better access to their businesses. So, you know, even on both sides of the road, they might be willing to give some money to the pot to make it happen. And these grants from the USDA, more people you get involved, you say, hey, we were able to raise this much from the business owners, this much we're able to take out of our coffers, and we need this much. They really smile upon that, oh, you've got different groups working together to make this happen. So, you know, I think we'd be more likely. You know, I've talked about a downtown development authority. That's a good way to go. Maybe the Chamber of Commerce get involved and do something. That's a good way to go if they're willing to. If some of the business owners are willing to put money into the Chamber of Commerce that would go toward the parking, you know, and we could work it out that way. But I mean, that's what I thought you might have the information so we could throw it at him and give him more. Maybe next meeting he'll bring back some more information on this and we can discuss it a little more in depth. Or we can get it to you well before the next meeting and you can mill through it and look at what we've got. I know I can get you the draw that has the parking plan. I'll just call it the parking plan that I had him do and the ownership in colors of who owns what. So I'll get that from John Paul Ray. Other than that, you didn't get a chance to speak, so I wanted to give you a chance to speak before we move on through here. Do you have anything?
As a part of the reevaluation of the community a couple of years ago, I discovered some issues with the legal descriptions of property on Maple Street. And in going back
I
and
had a resident call about that.
yeah, in going back and looking at it, I've also discovered that the line drawings that were created by St. Clair County had some errors in them. So when we look at the actual plats that were recorded in 1933, the plat lines that were created by the surveyor actually run through the properties, through the houses. So there appears to have been several errors in the plat itself, as well as on the county's part, as well as on the way these properties have been assessed historically, as far back as I can tell.
So are they all encroaching on the neighbor's property?
Well, the way the property boundaries, based on the recorded plat, and also at the state of Michigan, the way those boundaries fall, they run through the houses.
Wow.
And the one house on Maple Street next to the church house, that was at one time split. It used to be one house, and they actually split the house and moved a portion of it over. Well, at that time, that lot, number 28, lot 28, was 75 feet wide on the plat. But when they moved it over, they only moved it over 10, 15 feet. And so there was a court order on this, a circuit court order to recognize that the one house is only 49 feet. It didn't address the issue of the other 26 feet. And basically it's a mess. I've got a lot of information that the property owners have been gracious enough to share with me. They share in this mess. One of the properties has recently sold. I have the same owners on all of them. With the sale of that property, it creates a problem. Because when I mapped out where the property that they bought is, they bought a vacant lot. Now they're in the house. It's described that way. It's assessed as a house and a lot. But when you map it out, it's physically on a vacant lot.
Wow.
My suggestion to the city council, right, is that this has been an ongoing issue that apparently at least 2 other assessors in the past have
Ignored?
been aware of and have not completely resolved the issue. How's that? Diplomatic. I'd like to address this issue.
Wouldn't it require us getting a survey and replatting that whole subdivision?
Well, it could if we wanted to go that far. We have a plat that exists at the state, however wrong it is. We have one property owner that owns 4 of the 8 properties in question. So in some ways it's easier to take what we have existing and re-describe it. Now there may be a couple of things that we can do. My suggestion, at least to get started with this, is to request that the city allow me to hire the Seaver Title Company. And Mr. John Cook from Seaver Title Company is somebody that I'm very comfortable with, and I've worked with them to identify all of the legal issues in terms of the ownership and the circuit court action, to compare that against the plat, and to make a recommendation on a method that we might correct this.
How much will that cost?
Yeah, that's 2 things, cost, and another thing is important. The other thing is St. Clair County, are they responsible for any of this?
St. Clair County is the rendition of the GIS, which we looked at when Macomb County came with the maps that they've done and the aerial photos. The GIS in Macomb County and St. Clair County were originally developed on what they call a snap to grid. So they take the property boundaries where they appear to be and they create their lines and they put it in that way. And then they go back and they reconcile it with the actual plats. In this particular case, the lots that they had drawn on the line drawing were labeled as 75 feet, but they were actually measuring out to be about 58 feet. So they were short, which kind of made everything look like it was okay. They have since corrected those lines, and the property boundaries still run through the house with the corrected
Now,
lines.
when the original plot was drawn, then you would think, and that was probably years and years ago. At that time, would they use that plot, where they put the house?
Well, it used to be in title work that it was almost required by the mortgage company that there was a mortgage survey. And the mortgage survey would, as much as we as assessors would complain about the quality of them, they did help you identify some of the boundary issues. It wasn't a state survey, they didn't go out and actually verify the dimensions. Had that happened in this case, had the title company not cut back in their costs, and they've eliminated mortgage surveys now, they would have tripped over the same thing that I did when they went to the county GIS. Because the visual interpretation, when you look at the lines, is pretty clear. And then I actually went back and physically, using the measuring tools of the GIS, retraced where these lots should be.
You said it was on Maple?
It's on Maple on the south side.
East Maple, West Maple?
Between it, all of the lots that are between Bell River and
And
Church, on the south side.
Yeah.
Okay, even the church itself?
The church itself, at one point in time, gave 6 or 7 feet to the property to the west.
Which
That
is
was
the-
never
the-
recorded.
Okay.
It's not a part of our legal description. So, General, here's the ballpark. Just to ante up in this card game and figure out where we stand, it's going to be between $1,500 and $2,000. It's $250 a parcel for the title work. I expect that what we're going to find at the end of this is we're going to identify the issues. All the parties of interest would have to get on board and readjust the legal descriptions. We may be able to do that from the descriptions of record. We may have to have some survey work done.
Is anybody gonna lose land? I mean, in their mind?
Actually, no.
Okay.
In talking to the people, they've always been okay with where the boundaries were because they had their image of the property boundaries from visual markers while you're out in the properties, looking
Right.
at where they own to. As a matter of fact, the circuit court case that was back in the 60s was just that. When the house was split, the original house was sold, and the party that bought the house, when they went to court, the judge says, well, what did you buy? And they said, well, we bought this lot. And when they described the physical boundaries of the property, it matched up with the seller and the buyer's interpretation. That, in fact, was only 49 feet. So the judge, in his good common sense, said, you have 49 feet of that lot. And that established it and corrected it, so they got what they paid for.
What they
But-
thought they paid.
But it identified an issue that we have an additional 26 feet of that lot 28. So we have a little bit of a mess.
Here's
Now,
the way.
is this both sides of the street are?
This
I said
is
just the south side.
just the south side.
Oh, just the south side?
That's all I've identified with this.
Okay, but the other side's okay?
Here's the way I see it, guys. We've done a good job of trying to clean up messes that the past has made. We've spent money on recodifying our rule book, which you guys have been working on. We've spent money on reassessing twice. You know, this is something that has to be cleaned up. It has to be cleaned up if the houses are gonna sell in the future. It has to be cleaned up if they're gonna be taxed properly.
That's the
Well,
city's
I think-
responsibility and all that?
No, I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna give you my opinion. I'm going to say that because we're party to this, and because it's something that, as an assessor, I'm supposed to identify and record all of the information. I'm supposed to identify every property. To me, it's a big puzzle. And the first part of it is putting it together and making sure that I don't have gaps and overlaps, that I'm not over-assessing somebody, or I'm not missing something that needs to be assessed. So the first step in doing that is to look at the legal descriptions. That's what brought us initially to that. And then in talking to the property owners, it's something we discussed, and it became an important issue because one of the properties sold. So now it is, there are taxpayers, and I think that
They need to be taxed
they
properly.
need to be taxed properly.
on
This
what
is an
they
issue
own.
that somebody should have been ferreting out many, many years ago. It's not a brand new issue, it's just something that.
When did you say the plat was put in place?
The plat was put in place, depending on what you're looking at. The documents say, I think, 1933.
So this has been a problem since the plat was written in 1933.
And I think it's the person who drafted the plat who,
Loved alcohol.
the people, he probably did. But I think that the people who lived there knew what they were selling between each other, and the plat that was developed around the properties that they already owned, I believe it was done in error. But what I'm asking to do is, let's make sure we get everything identified for us. Let's have a reputable company come in that's gonna lay this out and tell us the easiest, least expensive way to clear this up for everybody.
And
I
you
don't wanna
said,
make,
and you said the cost of this would be how much now again?
2000.
well, depending on how many parcels, I'm gonna try to take the information that I have, because there's been a lot of work that the homeowners have put into this, and I'm gonna try to use that to reduce my costs, because I've done some of the legwork for them. By giving them that, I wanna try to reduce that cost. I'm sure that they will. It's Seaver Title, they've already given us recommendations on some of the issues when we were talking about the parking lot a year and a half ago, and they did that free of charge for us. There was no charge for that. So what I'm recommending is that I'm gonna say not more than $2,000, and I believe it'll be less than that. But I wanted to make you aware of the situation so that we can move forward. I've got it, here's the one issue. The house that's sold, to some extent, I've already lit a fire under their title company. And I explained to them the importance of doing a mortgage survey so that they can insure the mortgage, because there's a little bit of risk on their part right now. I'd like to try to get them.
On a house when it's a vacant lot.
Yeah, it makes it real tough. So they're really upset right now. And so I'm getting that going. This is not gonna resolve itself in the next month or 2 months.
I know it's gonna take time. I know back years ago, it was on Maple Street, and I can't remember the house now, but this is quite a few years ago, and they went to sell their house. Well, they run into a mortgage problem. They
Right.
couldn't get clear title, and I think we had to resolve the issue by giving them some additional land that the city owned at that time in order to make it,
Well,
to
there
clear
are
that.
boundary agreements that are in
So-
place. There are transfers that have not been recognized between the church and the neighboring property to the west. All I'm saying right now is there's so much to this that I don't have the ability to spend the kind of time. And what we need to do is we need to have people that protect the city's best interest in this, as well as our taxpayers. And because it's been ongoing so long, I'm asking that we take care of it and get it
I think
done.
we can fix it.
I think we should. We're not budgeted for it, but I think it's an issue that's important enough that it has to be resolved. And I, for one, then, we'll make a budget amendment later when we get all the facts, but I think then we should okay it with not to exceed.
So are you making a
your
motion
figure. So
not to
I'll make a
exceed
motion to that
our
effect,
receiver
not to
title?
exceed $2,000. And but you keep us appraised of what's going on.
Yeah, if you'll allow me to negotiate to try to keep that cost down as low as possible, because
Well, we
I
certainly will do that.
I'd rather not spend the money. So if I can give them more information to keep that cost down, I think you'll like the results of this.
Anybody want to support? Thank you.
Thank you.
Davis,
Yes.
Parker absent, Stoops,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Lucas R,
Yes.
Lucas W.
Yes.
All right, anything else?
No, thank you very much.
All right, that's all he has. Got anything, Larry?
No, I don't.
Roberta?
No.
Fred?
Yeah, just the 4th, 5th, and 6th, the Lions will be out on the four corners selling the Goodfellow paper, so come on and support that good cause.
All right. You know anything, Scott? Bill?
Has anything been done about the building across the alley here that we talked about?
Nothing. The owner, I talked to him and he said that he's thinking of taking it off the market because he thinks it's gonna be worth more once the gas station over here is built. I said, I'm not sure that's true, but, okay. You know, the other thing is, you know, talking to the USDA, there is money available, but it's not short-term money to where we could just go and say, okay, we want the money. And I do know that they put some posts in at the south end of that alley because a truck keeps coming through and hitting the laundromat building. They've hit it 3 or 4 times. And so the owner of the laundromat put some posts in at the end to keep the truck over a little bit. It's whoever delivers to the subway isn't real careful at getting out of there apparently. So, but no, nothing yet.
Okay, that's it.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion,
Thank you.